today we are here to discuss how COVID-19 changed our life in a positive way, and how could we make this situation lived in like positive attitude. We can be positive in this situation. So today we have two partners with us in a psychological accreditation membership and United Nations Association Ethiopia, whose are the main speakers also for today. We have a project know about like Hush can Hushfield tell the journey of our project fight against COVID-19. Hey Hashvir is
Can you hear me?
can yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Apologies for firstly, apologies for not putting my camera on because my signal is quite bad on this side. But yes, thank you, Tanvi, for your introduction. My name is Hashvir. I am the director of the Peaceful Mind Foundation in South Africa, together with my fellow colleague Nigel. He's also a director, but I was also put in charge of the response to COVID-19 when this pandemic did hit us. So, firstly, from our point of view, from South Africa's response, and from a peaceful mind response, we actually focused on a few initiatives. One of which was supplying crucial PPE to African countries. And the second initiative was to deal with anxiety, and that anxiety being building up in people from a COVID-19 pandemic, which no one has faced ever before, or let me say, which is quite new to most of us. I must report back on the positive nature in which our first initiative being, supplying PPE to African countries first and foremost. That went on well. We did manage to at least contribute to donations towards a few countries, one of which was Kenya. And the other, we did a lot of work in South Africa as well. And then secondly, we ran a few initiatives based on dealing with anxiety, especially in the pandemic. And we ran a few of these workshops online and got very positive responses from people. We helped co-create and allow people to help one another in these workshops, which was fantastic. You had a lot of people interacting, and we got a lot of people talking. In saying that, we're not at the end of the pandemic. We all know it's, we ourselves are experiencing our second wave from South Africa, and a lot of other countries are going back into lockdown. But the glimmer of hope is obviously the vaccine, and that's been rolled out. And I must also say that even though today I'm actually in front of the beach in South Africa, I must say there's a lot of people adhering to. I mean, everyone's adhering to social distancing, masks. So we are trying as a continent to combat this virus. And yeah, those are the glimmers of hope that we build on as a country and as the world. So from a Peaceful Mind Foundation, I'm very grateful for my fellow colleagues who assisted in running these workshops. Thank you, Tanvi, as well, for preparing and setting up. I know it's been an immense journey, but we still continue with this journey. So this is not the end, but I'm very grateful to have colleagues like the fellow Peaceful Mind Foundation directors to assist. So thank you, Tanvi.
Thank you. All right. So we have today two speakers, one from ANA Psychological Accreditation membership. They offers therapist and counselor the first opportunity to be recognized for their self-awareness, capacity, and capability. Second, we have United Nations in Ethiopia, where they work with Ethiopian government on for the humanity, peace, and happiness. So from INA Psychological Accreditation membership, we have Mr. David. He's the one who is an international presenter and well-known life coach. So I would like to welcome you, sir, and so we can discuss about the positive side of COVID-19.
Tanvi, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome to ANA Psychological Accreditation here in the UK. I am joined by Siobhan Crosby, who is our CEO and a almost 20-year veteran of the counselling sector. ANA was set up to provide therapeutic professionals and those in the mental health field with a really relevant and effective means of support, because Siobhan and I both understood that the world of mental health is the backbone for all of our social infrastructures. So I'm going to let Siobhan give you a bit more detail about some of the positives, and then I'll come back with two of the largest positives that APA has been able to produce during the pandemic period.
Okay, thank you very much for everyone for joining us here today. As David said, as a practicing psychotherapist, I understand the art of connection. When we connect from soul to soul, from one individual to another, and we truly hear people's trauma, an organic change is automatically created, and people can wave their interactions with their own psychology and work their psychology in a better way for themselves. Now, COVID has helped us understand that connection above all else across the entire world is one of the most important things we ought to be doing right now. And we understand the impact of working together. COVID is actually the perfect example that if we don't all learn to work together as a human race, then we will incur major problems, and the world and the human race has forgotten how to care about the occupants of its planet. Our role is to help educate people, help people understand that each element of their own self-awareness can change their life. I'm standing here in front of you today, and APA was created on the back of me having colon cancer. With my own self-awareness, I got through colon cancer, and it saved my actual life. So when I talk about the power of self-awareness, I don't underestimate its power, because I'm standing here in front of you because of that self-awareness. It saved my life. And on the back of that, I met David, APA was created, and our desire to spread a message across the whole world for the human race to work together, to collide and create change within that collision of multiple minds, that anything is possible. And like I said, COVID, we're getting the example of the human race needing to work together for our own survival. And when we understand the power of working together, anything is possible. So we truly believe in the ethos of change. And we believe that woven into country systems will change the judicial system, the education system, youth and employability, social services system, and the world of mental health. It is imperative that we recognise our mind is part of our body, and our body will react to our mind. And the two are always intertwined. We are one being, but we need each other to survive. So our perspective is very much a collective perspective of minds working together to change the systems in the world. And thank you very much for listening to me and helping me explain where APA comes from, and the fact that I'm standing here because of that power of self-awareness.
So APA created two amazing programs during the pandemic. that do exactly what Vonnie's talking about. The first was to acknowledge that the professionals on the front line of this trauma are going to need more support than has ever been put in place before. We are seeing frontline professionals experiencing post-traumatic stress at a level that has never been experienced before globally. The psychological response to that has to step up. So in the spring, APA created the framework for post-trauma care response for those frontline professionals, bringing psychological and therapeutic support right to the front line in a way that's never been done before, and making sure that those professionals are supported so they can keep fighting the war against the virus. And I'm very careful about using terminology like that, because when we come together as a species and see this virus as an invasion, it's a biological invasion on our entities, this is a war. And when we fight it as a war, we will come together as one. This is our, if you like, our Independence Day. This is our turn to stand together as one species and fight something that's trying to take us all out. Our second framework that we created this year has been the framework for positive mental health. Every single person in this virtual room will understand and appreciate that for so long, systems have been designed and mental health has been tried to plug into those systems, and it doesn't work. We had a mental health crisis on the planet in 2019. If we think for 1 second that what we had in place in 2019 is going to be strong enough to deal with 2021 and beyond, we are fooling ourselves. We need to step up. We need to make a change. We cannot have mental health systems being a plug-in to policies, as Siobhan mentioned, around education, around crime reduction, youth engagement, children. We cannot carry on with the same systems that we know were failing before this. So we created a framework that flips that system on its head. We put mental health at the core of every policy in those 5 key governmental areas, allowing policy to grow from a mental health platform like it's never been done before. And we can design policies that are fit for purpose in 2021 and beyond. We could never do that by keeping the same frameworks that we've been using for the last 40 years. So the positives out of what APA has experienced with our members, with our collaboration partners, has been to create, has not been to sit and wait for somebody else to go, here is an answer. Not wait for a vaccine, which if we listen to every piece of information, the evidence and everything else, there is nothing but confusion. The one thing that we know makes creative and positive change is empowerment. And when we empower people with solid mental health resilience, we make positive changes as a species. And that is what APA is bringing to the table for 2021. I want to thank you all for your interest in the world of mental health, for the work that you all do. And we truly hope that the connection that we seek resonates with you.
Thank you very much for your time. And please remember, we start with ourselves. When we learn about ourselves and our awareness increases within ourselves, that will ripple out, that will affect everybody else. And it affects people in an incredibly positive way. And that's the art of connecting. And that's why we're in this room today, looking to connect with every single one of you in your own individual ways. And collectively, we can create a major change in the world today. So thank you very much for giving us your time today, and a happy Christmas to one and all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. So now we move forward. We have second speaker from United Nations of Ethiopia, Samuel Fakade, the founder and director of UNS Association of Ethiopia. He's the chairman of UNAET, and of course, he started Glow Africa Youth Initiative, which showcases local leaders and empowers young people. He also started Inside Club, a TV youth show which discuss controversial social topics. So, sir, can we focus on like a positive side of COVID-19? Can you put your words on this topic?
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me? I hope you can hear me. Um, Thank you, Appa. That was very beautiful. And hello, everyone, and happy Sunday, Merry Christmas. It's beautiful Sunday, wonderful weather here in Ethiopia. Um, I'm in one of my favorite places, drinking Ethiopian traditional coffee with popcorn. I can say I am on my Sunday vibe. I don't think there's a better place or day to have this talk or dialogue than such a beautiful day, and I'm very happy to be here. Okay, so I want to thank our participants who joined us today for taking the time to participate in this dialogue, and also to thank the Peaceful Foundation for giving us, the United Nations Association of Ethiopia, an opportunity to partner on this dialogue. This is a different but yet a very important topic to see. I believe it will give us a bright and hopeful perspective and a chance to finish the year with optimistically. As I was introduced, my name is Samuel, and I'm the director of the United Nations Association of Ethiopia, an organization that works and strives to inform the Ethiopian public in an impartial and critical manner, objective and institution and activities of the UN. It intends to increase interest and raise awareness for the current events in foreign and developmental policy, cultural and world economic policy, as well as international relations. So let me just say something about the UNA and move on to some of my pointers. The UNA, basically, before going to the UNA, United Nations is founded on ideals, and it needs member states' support and energy. That's where we come. As UNA around the world, there are more than 100 UNAs. The UNA USA, UNA Canada, UNA India, UNA South Africa, all work to enhance the relationship between the UN and member states. We're like the middle ground. And Ethiopia being one of the founding members of the UN and hosting the largest UN system, Ethiopia should have established UNA a long time ago, but never done. Better late than never. After many ups and downs, hard work, UNAT has been officially established, and we officially started this journey. And the UNAT generally works to inform, inspire, and engage Ethiopia regarding the work, goals, and values of the UN to create a fair and more sustainable world. So, as an advocate of the United Nations, as an advocate of the United Nations, let me use this opportunity to say this many challenges that the world is facing, like peace, stability, the poverty, and now the global pandemic, the COVID-19, that our world is facing, humanity can only address there's this disturbing voice. So humanity can only address the challenge of global and regional problems through international cooperations. And we have seen this, especially during this pandemic. In this regards, I can say the UN can play an important and a positive role in modern age, strengthening and increasing the position of the UN and supporting the establishment of fair and political and economic order in line with the global pattern. And I believe this is an interest of all nations. As APA Executive Office earlier in their speech, they mentioned we have learned international cooperation in during this pandemic, and one of the positive outcome of COVID-19 has reminded the world is that we cannot survive without international cooperation, and humanity has to work together no matter what. Let's face it, the first half of the 2020 hasn't exactly been a blast. While quarantine, days rate, and lockdown might just be the most frequent used words in this year. Like sadness, frustration, and devastation feels people hurt all over the world. Um, International cooperation this pandemic has taught us many that we can consider as a positive outcome. So global cooperation is our only choice for all of our differences. We are one human race sharing the same planet, and our security is interdependent with one country. So now no country will be safe until we are all safe. Um, as Harry Truman said once, he said, a pessimist is one of who makes difficult of his opportunities, and an optimist is one who makes opportunities of his difficulties. So why not look on the bright side and view the situation optimistically? We are aware that positive perspective towards the current situation cannot be taken by everyone, but let's face it, there are many positive outcomes of this pandemic. So let's see this bright side and start the new year with a positive uh, uh, vibe. So I can say one of the positive outcome of this is, for example, this webinar, having this kind of meetings virtually. I'm from Africa, East African region. There are different participants from all over the world, and we have learned that greater use of information and communication technology, or ICT, and digitalization. This is one of the things beside the international cooperation. Even in my personal experiences, when the pandemic started, there's to be honest, we don't find that much of big volunteerism culture here in Ethiopia, but during this pandemic, a lot of people were volunteering in different institutions to fight the COVID-19 and helping the vulnerable and the poor. Um, I even volunteered myself to give distribute face masks, print face shields, and so on. That was very amazing experience. And if it wasn't for this pandemic, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have that experience myself. Besides that, there's the individual revelation that the pandemic has an opportunity to rethink one's life priorities, appreciate the freedom and new perspective on work, career, social relations, slowing down on peace life, less rush, more free time, possibility to engage in self-fulfilling activities. Even on my the first months of the pandemic, I had a chance to, because I was really busy with work, but I had a chance to reconnect with my family, to spend time more. And I discovered many amazing things about my family. It's just because of this pandemic. So there are many different things that we can learn, and also this pandemic taught us. So I say, let's focus on that and hope for a better year, and come together, work together, and UNAT promote this every day. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Samuel, for your kind words. Now we have Oliver, the global youth practitioner, with us. So, Oliver, can you tell let let people know about more about your side of story of positive side of COVID?
My name is Oliver Timuriro and I'm based in Windhoek, Namibia. I would like to apologize. My camera is not working where I'm trying to connect it. Um, as a youth development practitioner, I can say that the COVID pandemic has not been brought about many positive impact to the young people. It has like impacted negatively to the young people, but I would try to scrape through and come up with some few positive outcomes that have also come from the pandemic on behalf of young people. So I can start with the first point. The first point is that young people are now more aware of societal inequalities that have been unmasked by the COVID-19 pandemic. The need for society as a whole to take care of those who are less fortunate has also been like realized by the young people all of a sudden due to the pandemic as well. And also the young people are now more aware of the importance of like health issues like the personal hygiene of washing hands, especially the hand washing hygiene. They used to take it like for granted, like they wouldn't take hand washing is something that is very basic or that they should do more frequently. But now due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you can see that more young people become aware of the importance of hand washing hygiene. So it's also a positive factor that came out of this pandemic. And also the young people are now the young people who are interested in STEM subjects, the science and the mathematics and software engineering, have also become more interested in the discoveries, innovations at national, regional, and global scale within the medical field. So we see that the young people have become more interested in the scientific innovations within the medical fraternity as well. Then we also come to the issue of that as the international travel and the freight logistics were badly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. You can see that more young people have become more aware of the importance of domestic goods production. Even if they are not economists or politicians, they are now aware of the importance that a country needs to manufacture its own basic goods to meet its demand at home rather than relying on imports. So I think it's also a very good factor that has also come about from this pandemic. Then we move on also to still on the innovation topic, the pandemic has also increased the level of innovations among young people across the globe. You can see that like young people in Africa have become more creative minded in the effort to help produce effective new innovations to help deal with the pandemic. For example, you can see there's young people in their own capacity. We have innovated masks that help people to breathe more easily. And also we have seen like in developing world, young people coming with some innovations that is
Hey, Oliver, are you here?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear.
Oh, sorry, maybe I can just repeat back. I was talking about that the pandemic has increased the level of innovations among the young people across the globe. So you can see that the young people have become more creative minded in the effort to help also manage this COVID-19 pandemic. So you can see young people have also innovated masks that have helped people to during this pandemic period. And also we have seen young people innovating like the manual foot pedestal hand washing machines, which has also helped during this pandemic era. And then also there is a possibility due to this COVID-19 pandemic that young people across the globe will resort also to eat more traditional foods than ever before, as there is now less demand for restaurant and hotel sector supply chains across the globe. So I think it's also one of the positive that is also come on a social scale. So I think for now, those are some of the points that I can share with you.
Thank you so much, Oliver, for your words. Now, like we have the advisor of Peaceful Mind Size Shines, Dr. Prabjit Singh Narula here. So, sir, can you put your words in the side of in this like story of COVID-19? Thank you.
Yes, most of the words have already been said by the dignitaries present. What I believe is, as per my observation, the best positive thing that happened due to COVID is that we have learned the value of emotional bonding, and we have learned how to, stay in touch with our family. And why is it important? We've all been scared during this COVID outbreak, but if we analyze ourselves, we go back to the time, we analyze that we were not scared for ourselves, we were scared for our family first. But when we were working around, we were not even, in the back of the mind, we might have been having a thought regarding our family, but it was never upfront. So what I believe is, this is one thing that COVID has taught us, that family is equally important as work, which earlier we never thought. And the bonding has increased. We have learned one more thing. The most important thing is the patience, because during lockdown we were all forced to stay in the home. So we've learned the patience from there, and we have learned the patience to stay inside. We have learned the art of social distancing, which human being is not built. Human is a social animal, as we say, but this is also necessary. So this is one more important thing that I believe we have learned. More than that, I believe, yes, people have been suffering from a lot of issues, and we have learned one more thing in this COVID-19 era, is that the work that we used to do daily can be done without even going to the office. We are serious enough. But that doesn't mean that we altogether replace the office thing. Yes, that is also necessary. That environment is also necessary. But still, we can manage a lot of things, from our home as well. That's it. I think that's from my side.
Hi.
From Nigeria, I was once a volunteer for the Peaceful Mind Foundation Nigeria. And I must say that the avenue that was brought to help me immerse myself in volunteering as regards the mental health related issues is one of experience that I will never forget. And during my volunteer sessions with my teammates in Nigeria, we did quite some job. We held many online sessions with various group organizations, and then the first week of my volunteer experience, I had this mental health perspective webinar with the youth ambassadors in Lagos State, and alongside an organization called Positive Values Initiative, where we spread the awareness on the mental health perspective of COVID-19. Later, like say, months passed by, and we had to see another reason to hold other webinars when the issues of rape was arising as a result of the stay-at-home policy. So we had to run another webinar regarding the effects of rape and mental health, just in line with the tasks that I'm supposed to be doing with my team. And aside that, I do create a daily infograph or graphics design with some content in it, motivating people to, I say, not to give up hope on the pandemic, and that everything will be fine. So I kept on doing this for about 4 months, till I say, when I had to stop. So it's been a great experience. I got to meet a lot of people, and sometimes we tend to assume what is not until we reach out to people. So I really thank the Peaceful Mind Foundation for giving me the avenue to volunteer and to, like I say, have impact in changing lives. Thank you very much.
Okay, I was just requesting everybody that, we all went through this COVID-19 thing, and we all have faced the fear, the terror, whatever. So just, an input from everybody or anybody who would like to come up and tell us that one negativity or one negative point that you faced and how you converted into a positive thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Please, anybody can take the charge.
Okay, how are you?
We,
Can you hear me?
yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Hello. Okay, my name is Dr. Margaret Kagwe. I'm from Kenya, and I'm a counseling psychologist. One of the positive things that came from COVID for me is appreciation of mental health, because our government began talking more about taking care of ourselves when we are in lockdown. And I realized that more people reached out to me and they were willing to talk openly about their struggles. So I found an avenue where I could, I came up with webinars where I taught people for free on psychological topics. I talked about anxiety. I talked about family values and how to coexist within them. And so I ended a program called MHC, which is Mental Health Championship Training, where people are volunteering to be trained how to become champions so that they can look out for other people in their circles, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it is within friends. They can be able to identify signs that somebody is struggling emotionally. So for me, that was a major break because of COVID, because people started now actually taking mental health seriously. But this is after they struggled with coping, because they are in the same space with children, husband, and extended families for some, and it was a real struggle for them to come up with a way of moving on with life, especially because there was no end in sight for the COVID. So another thing that I could say is a positive is appreciation of technology in communication and working. We were spending so much money moving from one place to place, and yet that money could have been saved the way we are doing right now. You're saving money for transportation and logistics, and we are offering the same services. Although it may not be exactly the same, but at least we are getting there. So I believe that mental health has benefited largely, not because of people coming out strongly to say that actually I need help. So I'm actually realizing I'm doing more Zoom sessions with clients, especially families, and parenting. For corporates, I've done several. They've sponsored their employees into webinars so that they can benefit on how to take care of themselves and also take care of their families, and also how to work together, even with the COVID. So I really appreciate, and also the other thing that came out strongly is the relationship between physical needs and mental health. There is something we do when we are counseling, which is the approach of biopsychosocial. You cannot counsel a person who is bleeding and you are counseling them and they are bleeding or they are in pain. So the biological needs need to be met first, that if this person is bleeding, they need to go to hospital. They are taken care of, their pain is addressed before now they can sit down for counseling. That is the same thing. When people are hungry, they are locked indoors, they can't be able to access food. There's no need for counseling. We're talking about counseling. The need is first of all to address the physical or biological need so that you can now go to the next level, which is a psychological need. Thank you so much for this forum. I'm doing the MHC online, and anybody interested could reach out to me because I'm not charging anything. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words.
Anvi, I think from our part, the biggest kind of negative that we've seen is the insulation that communities have put on across the world, and the excuses for things that have gone wrong in those communities being brought to the fore. It's been a phenomenal year of people finding the historic hurdles that have kept them in scenarios that they've experienced for generations. We've seen generational transference like never before. And it's all been because of the fear of what is about to happen because of the pandemic. One of the things that we have experienced in speaking to professionals and clients from all over the world is that at the moment of greatest safety, we have our greatest fear. And when we give into that fear, we don't take the leap into the solution. It's a bit like, you know, Will Smith gives the example of sitting on the edge of the plane before taking a parachute jump. You have the most amount of safety. You are still sat inside the plane with the parachute on, but you have the most amount of fear. The moment you jump out of that plane is the most amount of danger because you are free falling, but it is the most successful part of that day because you are able to embrace what your systems can do. And when you pull that parachute cord and everything opens and you drift and you can see the world for what it is, you are able to reduce your fear. We have all been scared at times because of the pandemic. The greatest part of 2021 is to embrace that fear and move through it. Jump out of the plane, take that step into that psychological well-being. Embrace the emotional well-being, the connectivity that everyone has spoken about. Whether that's psychological awareness, whether that's emotional awareness, whether it's family connectivity, or whether it's the work that we are all doing on a day-to-day basis. When we embrace it, enhance it, and promote it, we support more people to embrace their fears. And we can get through whatever those challenges are for everybody. But when we do it together, we provide the safety net. We provide that parachute for those people that we are working with. And that has to be the drive for all of our communities into 2021.
True. Thank you so much for this. Hi, Sandra. Can you hear me? We have the director from PMF director of Argentina, Sandra. If Sandra want to say something to us, can you tell us the story of your side of lockdown? Hey Sandra, can you hear me? I think she didn't hear. Anybody else want to speak about the?
All right, can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Charles from Nigeria. And I'm also the chairman and director of UC Diaries Foundation in Nigeria. And we've been functioning from the years 2015 up till date. I'm just going to look at one factor that I have seen, that has really, really appalled us over here in Nigeria. And the greatest of factors there is fear. I loved what the APA Executive Office, talked about, which was fear, and it is really true. One of the things we tried to do over here was to try to dispel the fear. Right there in the cities, everyone understands English, and they speak English and all that. But what of communities in the local areas that do not have access to maybe radios? What of communities that do not have access to language understandings like the English? They only understand their local languages. And so it was pretty hard for you to explain what the pandemic was all about. And so because what you do not understand, it could create fear in you. And so one of the things we tried to do as an organization was to try to go into the local communities and look out for translators who would be able to translate what the pandemic is all about to the community members, maybe to the chief, and the chief would actually translate to the community members. That way it would reduce the level of fear they were having. Another thing we were able to do as an organization was actually the distribution of sanitizers. You know, it's one thing to be able to have foreign aids coming. It's another thing to be able to explain to the people what actually to do with these hand sanitizers. Because I'm sure it was always in the market, but it wasn't something that was of top priority to most people until the pandemic came. And so when we had this pandemic come into the country, one of the most important things to do at that time was to educate the people on what the pandemic is all about. Education is light, education is key. And so if you didn't have proper education on what it's all about, at the end of the day, there'll be a disuse or an abuse of actually what the pandemic is all about. And so this education had to take place in the local languages of the people, not just in English. English is the general medium for communication, but we needed to break them down to the several languages in the 36 states. So each state had its own particular language, and that language had to be used in passing this information to the people about the global pandemic. And this way, when it was passed on to them in their local languages, it helped to dispel to a certain level the fear. And that's one of the tools we used. And to say one of the nice factors or positive factors for the COVID-19, it brought families together. A lot of families that have been, you know, away from each other because of work, because of school, the country was in a total state of lockdown, and families had to come back home. Families got their bond together, you know, they prayed together, they had lunch together, breakfast. Families that haven't actually had time for themselves in years actually had time for themselves. People developed skills. At the end of this year, we've had a lot of Nigerians come up with amazing skills, digital skills. A lot have gone through online courses from the Harvard Medical School to the London School of Medicine. A lot of online certifications have taken place. Why? Because a lot of people have embraced the idea of the lockdown and have made good use of it. So we cannot say that the COVID-19 was a total mess. It brought with its own possibilities, positive things that people could be grateful for. We've lost a lot of compatriots, we've lost a lot of people to the fight of COVID-19, but also we've seen that together we can achieve a whole lot. Together we can do a whole lot. And this is just the beginning. We hope that in 2021 we can do even more as God gives us the strength. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me this invitation to invite me to assist this in this session. My name is Mohammed Salim Mustafa. I'm from Chad, the president of United Nations Association of Chad, UNAET Chad. So I'm so glad to partnering with Peaceful Mind a few days ago. It's really important to have such kind of activity, and I'm glad to be among these brilliant people that is really fighting to help those who are suffering from mental health. So I'm really glad to be among you today. I just want to talk about the positive side of COVID-19 in my country here and what we have done during this past period. So firstly, the positive side of COVID-19, especially here in my country, Chad. So the first thing is just put all the family together, because there is a lockdown and everybody must to stay with his family, with his children. So it is kind of just giving an opportunity to discover how are you going to educate your children and to spend more time with them. Before COVID-19, so most of the people or most of the fathers get out from home since 6 or 7 morning and just come back late. they will not have time to spend it with their family. So this is one of the positive things that COVID-19 that's brought to Chadian community. And also the other side is let the government discover the weak of health system in the country, especially when we talk about the health system is not only about one country, but it's about whole the world, because nowadays, since the COVID-19 came, and until now we are just fighting to find a cure for this pandemic. And it showed us that the health system is weak and nobody is taking care about it. And they must give an specific concern about how to work well and to put something and to give more importance to health system all over the world. And the third thing that I would like to add is I would like to talk about my country is the COVID-19 came and let the government discover the importance of using the internet on education and on the work and in different things, especially when we are talking about education here in Chad. So people are talking about how to go to school and come back from school. They are not giving any importance to internet on I can say the online education. And it's kind of when COVID-19 came, the government discovered that the only tools that they can use it to educate the children during the COVID-19 is using internet. And I'm so glad that the government nowadays gave an important and a specific importance to Ministry of Communication and Internet to how to improve the side of online education and boost and also they put a specific accent on the Ministry of Education how to work closely with this to improve this side. The voluntary job that the United Nations Association done during the COVID-19. So they start with producing templates of how to educate people about how to prevent themselves, how to prevent themselves from COVID-19, how to prevent others in order to stay safe from this pandemic. And also they share some masks and share some hand sanitizers to those population. And also they educate people how to make a local hand sanitizers. As you know, Chad is a landlocked country located in the middle of Africa. And when we will during the COVID-19 and everything has stopped and nothing is coming and nothing is going out. So we have to educate the community how to use the materials or the products, the basic products that they have in Chad to make the hand sanitizers to make it locally. This is the way that we used to work during the COVID-19 and the good side. And lastly, I can say the COVID-19 has prevent all the world from the conflicts and from war. So before COVID-19, all the world in the Asia and Africa and some side of Europe, there are many people that is in war and there is conflict everywhere. And especially in sub-Saharan Africa, the five country of big Sahara of Africa, there is a terrorism problem, there is a conflict problem, there is a we call it like there is an issue that is always people are just manifesting, going out and striking and everything. When COVID-19 came and all the world discovered that what they're doing is against themselves and they must come together and to fight against the only one enemy, which is COVID-19 pandemic. So the good side of COVID-19 pandemic that came to prevent the war from conflict and from a war. Thank you very much.
Would like to conclude the session with my PPT. So I'm sharing the screen.
Tanvi, Siobhan just wanted to mention a last word, if she may.
Yeah.
Thank you. In my personal opinion, we are being taught the most philosophical lesson of mankind. And the philosophical lessons of mankind are to value and appreciate life itself, and to work in a way where we connect with each other to create that value, keep that value. And the lesson is literally in what we're being taught. The appreciation of how we work as a human race together to overcome absolutely anything. And we can, if we work together, we can achieve anything. And I truly do believe that. We are being taught to remind ourselves of what is valuable to us, which are the people that are closest to us. We are being taught that materialistic things are not of any value to us. What's important is hearts, souls and minds working together connectively across the entire planet to change a system, to change every system, and make ourselves much more psychologically aware, much more aware of the impact of mental health, and recognise it as a positive part of who we are. We have minds that we can use, and we can use them in the best way for everybody across this planet and create the change that every country needs. And that change will create positivity. So out of COVID, in my opinion, there's been a huge amount of positivity despite the negativity. And there will always be positive and negative. Our role is to work with the positive, understand the positive, and create lessons to change the impact of the negativity. And that's where I'd like to thank you for inviting us here today to give us an opportunity to introduce APA, our principles, our ethos, and work to collaborate with others across the entire world to create that positive change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, like, in the last, I would like to say, like, just help the people, be good listener, and um, be non-judgmental, and let people be positive also, like us. Thank you so much, everyone, to come here and join this session.